Most people spend their entire lives chasing money as if it were some faraway prize waiting at the end of a long, winding road. They run, they hustle, they grind, hoping one day they'll arrive. Let me share a little known truth with you, something rarely said out loud. Wealth isn't just a number sitting in your bank account. It's a mindset, it's a discipline, and more than anything, it's a philosophy, a way of seeing life itself. While 97% of people stay trapped in a constant cycle of scarcity, struggle, and survival, there's a small 3%, the ones who've cracked the code. What they've discovered is powerful. Financial freedom isn't about how much you earn, it's about how you think, it's how you act, and how you grow every single day. And no, it's not luck. It's not about being born into the right family. It's not about having a fancy degree or a powerful network. It's a completely different way of seeing the world, a way of understanding your own worth, your own power, and the invisible forces that are quietly shaping your financial destiny. Today, I want to take you deeper, beyond quick tips and surface-level hacks. This isn't just about how to make more money. It's about how to think like the wealthiest so that your actions shift, your results begin to change permanently. Because here's the hard truth. Poverty starts in the mind long before it ever shows up in your wallet. And wealth begins the moment you decide to step off the beaten path and rewrite the story you've been telling yourself about money. So let me ask you, are you ready? Are you ready to find out why the majority stay broke and how a few manage to break free? Then listen closely, because this might be one of the most important conversations you'll ever have. Let me start with something simple but powerful. If you ever want to build real wealth, it's not just a bigger paycheck or a fancier lifestyle. There's one rule you have to follow. Pay yourself first. That's the first law. That's the foundation. Before you pay the landlord, before the bills, for the groceries, the gas, the taxes, you must honor your future self. Now, I know what some people say, but I don't make enough to save. Let me be real with you. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep. And even more importantly, it's about what you do with what you keep. Wealth doesn't respond to income. It responds to discipline. Let's say you earn a check. It's not $1 million. Maybe it's just $500 for the week. Most people immediately start subtracting. Rent, food, fuel, fun. By the time they're done, they tell themselves, maybe next month I'll start saving. But the wealthy, they flip that script. They subtract their future first. They take 10%, sometimes more, and set it aside for savings, investments, maybe a little gold. Then they use what's left to cover life. I learned this lesson when I had almost nothing, sitting at a wobbly little table, too many bills and barely enough cash to get by. And that's when my mentor looked me in the eye and said, don't. Wait until you have more to begin. Start with what you have and you'll end up with more. So I did. I began with just $1 out of every $10. It felt small, maybe even silly at first. But that tiny habit taught me ownership. It gave me control. I stopped being a servant to my money and started becoming its master. You've got to tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And let me be clear, paying yourself first isn't selfish. It's smart. It's not about hoarding. It's about planting. Every dollar you save or invest becomes a worker on your team. So ask yourself, are you sending your dollars out to work for you? Or are you spending them all on temporary pleasures and wondering why nothing ever changes? Here's what I tell anyone ready to step into that top 3%. The moment you decide that your future is worth more than that extra coffee or another gadget, that's the moment you step into a new life. Not because you make more, but because you think better. And here's a truth many people don't want to face. Most people spend money emotionally. They buy what feels good. A fancy drink, a new phone, it's a fun night out. These things provide relief, like a quick hit of pleasure to numb the stress or boredom. But that relief, it's fleeting. They chase short-term comfort with long-term consequences. And when the money runs out, so does the relief. That's why so many live paycheck to paycheck, trapped in a loop of temporary highs, followed by lingering stress. Their spending is ruled by feelings, not foresight. Now, let's contrast that with the mindset of the 3%. These people don't just spend, they invest. And I'm not just talking about stocks or crypto or mutual funds, I'm talking about intention. They see every single dollar like a soldier, sent out on a mission not just to survive the week, but to build something: retirement, education, financial independence. They're not buying relief, they're buying freedom. And that shift in perspective, it's everything. That's what separates the broke from the free. When someone with a 3% mindset walks into a coffee shop, they're not depriving themselves by skipping the drink. They're asking, will this bring me closer to my goals or pull me farther away? That one question holds immense power. I remember back in the early days of my career, money was tight. I count every coin before the week ends. Kind of tight. And I was tempted by comfort. Purchases that promised a quick dopamine hit. But then I noticed something about the people around me. They didn't necessarily earn more, but they paused just long enough to ask themselves if that purchase was feeding their future or just feeding a feeling. And that habit changed everything. They started stacking savings, building investments. They had choices I didn't. Options I hadn't earned yet, because they spent with vision, not emotion. Intentional spending means knowing your priorities, means not letting your mood dictate your money. The discipline to delay. And here's the bottom line. Wealth isn't just about what you make, it's about what you keep and what you do with it. Every dollar is building something, either your future or someone else's. So if you want to be in the 3%, it starts today. It starts by shifting how you think about money. Don't spend because it feels good. Spend because it serves a purpose. Choose to build a legacy, not just a lifestyle. Now here's a hard truth. One of the biggest reasons people stay broke isn't because they don't earn enough. It's because they have no idea where their money is going. For most people, their money vanishes quietly, invisibly slipping through their fingers like water. The 97% don't track. They don't measure. They guess. They hope. And then they hope a little more. But wealth doesn't grow in darkness. It grows in clarity. I've met countless people who were deeply frustrated with their finances yet. They couldn't tell you how much they spent last week or where. They'd say things like, I don't want to obsess over money, or I'll figure it out later. But here's the truth. You can't manage what you don't measure. It's like trying to steer a ship without a compass. You think you're headed in the right direction, but without clear data, you're just drifting now. The 3%, they know where every dollar is going. Not because they're obsessed, but because they understand that clarity is power. They're not micromanaging. They're mastering. They see where money leaks, where it can be redirected, where it can grow. Tracking isn't about fear. It's about empowerment. When I first got serious about my finances, I started a simple habit, a weekly money journal. Every week, I'd write down what I earned, what I spent, what I saved, and what I invested. Was it always comfortable? No. Sometimes I saw spending patterns that made me cringe. Money wasted on things I didn't even remember buying. But that level of honesty gave me the power to course correct. Here's the thing. What gets tracked gets transformed. The moment you start logging your financial flow, truly paying attention to where your money goes, you begin to make better choices, almost automatically. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. You start to notice patterns. Maybe it's too many dinners out, or spontaneous late-night shopping that seemed harmless in the moment. That awareness alone sparks the desire to change. You can't unsee it. And once you've got the numbers in front of you cold, clear, and undeniable, you're no longer guessing, you're grounded. You're empowered to set realistic financial goals and actually hold yourself accountable. You stop hoping and start steering. But don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until your income triples or your life settles down. Start now with whatever you have. Use a notebook, a basic spreadsheet, or a simple app. It doesn't have to be fancy. The magic isn't in the tool, it's in the consistency. Track your money weekly. Review it honestly, just without guilt. Over time, This small act becomes the foundation of your financial discipline. Because here's the truth. If you want to move from the 97% to the 3%, get ruthless about clarity. Know where every dollar goes, and you'll know exactly where your future is headed. That's the first brick in the foundation of real financial freedom. Now let's tackle a common myth, one that traps so many well-meaning people in the grind. The belief that working harder and longer hours will automatically make you rich. It sounds noble, even logical. But it's often a trap. You see, many in the 97% fall into this mindset. They equate hustle with progress. They think sheer effort is the path to wealth. But here's the truth. Effort alone is often the slowest and most exhausting road to success. What actually moves the needle isn't just working more, it's becoming more valuable. I remember early in my career I worked ridiculous hours. I punched the clock, showed up early, stayed late, thinking if I just work a little harder, the money will come. But one day it hit me. People don't pay you for time, they pay you for value. 10 hours doing something anyone can do. Not the same as 10 hours doing something few can deliver. The wealthy know this. They invest in themselves, not just in assets, but in skills that pay off long term. They sharpen their communication so they can lead, influence, and persuade. They study leadership so they can guide others and scale their efforts. They master sales not just to sell products, but to sell possibility. And they develop financial literacy, so their money works harder than they do. These skills are like compound interest. They grow in value the longer you use them, so stop chasing more hours. Instead ask, what can I learn today that makes me indispensable tomorrow? What can I do that others overlook? What value can I bring that's hard to replace? When you make that shift from effort to value, you begin to align with the mindset of the 3%. That's when the doors start opening. That's when money begins to follow you. It's not the other way around. But here's something most people don't talk about. Success doesn't come from one massive leap. It's not one viral idea or one breakthrough moment. It's doing ordinary things extraordinarily well, consistently. The real difference between the 97% who struggle and the 3% who thrive. Systems simple, repeatable. Automatic systems that take emotion out of the equation and keep your money working, even when your motivation fades. Because let's be real, life happens. Bills pile up. Emergencies pop in. The motivation you had at the start of the month, it's gone by week 3. That's why the wealthy don't rely on willpower. They don't leave their future to chance. They automate it. One of the smartest moves you can make? Set up automatic transfers. Let a portion of your income go directly into your savings or investment account before you even see it. No decision, no temptation. It's progress on autopilot. It's like planting seeds in your financial garden week after week. Rain or shine, and now it's time to zoom in and explore how simple. Consistent systems quietly build unstoppable momentum. You see, when you plant financial seeds, whether it's savings, investments, or new habits, you don't need to think about each one every day. Just water them, nurture them, and let time do its magic. That's where technology becomes your greatest ally. Budgeting apps, spreadsheets, or any digital tool that helps you monitor your money adds another layer of clarity and control. These tools aren't just for accounting, they're for awareness. They show you exactly where your money's going, highlight where you're leaking cash, and most importantly, they give you insight into how quickly your wealth is growing. The top 3% lean on these insights. They don't guess, they don't hope. They make decisions backed by numbers, not emotions. Another smart system they use. Dollar cost averaging, a strategy where you consistently invest a set amount of money no matter what the market looks like. Rain or shine, bull or bear, you invest. And that simple practice turns investing into a habit, not a gamble. It takes the stress out of trying to time the market and replaces it with rhythm and routine. I remember a time early in my journey when I didn't have much to invest, but I set up a tiny automatic transfer, just a little, every paycheck. At first, it felt insignificant. But year after year, that steady drip built into a small reservoir of wealth. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't dramatic, but it worked. Because the system kept going even when I wasn't paying attention. That's the beauty of systems. Discipline can fade. Motivation comes and goes. But a system, it keeps running. Quietly, relentlessly. Until eventually, success becomes not just possible, but inevitable. So don't wait for that perfect moment or for motivation to magically appear. Build systems that serve your future. Automate your savings. Automate your investments. Automate your financial tracking. Make progress the default, not the exception. Because that's how the 3% build wealth. Not by luck, not by gambling on one big break. But by design through consistent, intentional actions practiced every single day. Wealth doesn't arrive in a lightning bolt. It arrives in quiet, consistent waves. The kind that most people ignore because they seem too small to matter. But those little waves, they're building a tide. Consider this. How often do we shrug off small habits because they don't feel big enough to make a difference? But those tiny routines, reading 10 pages of a financial book, investing a small amount, every payday, they build discipline. They cultivate mindset. And over time, they transform your financial foundation. Reading 10 pages a day won't make you an expert overnight. But do it for a year, and you've read 3,650 pages. That's not just reading. That's rewiring your brain. Looking at your financial goals each morning might seem like a small act, but it centers your focus. It reminds you daily of the future you're building. When distractions try to steal your energy, that ritual keeps your priorities sharp. Investing. A little from each paycheck, Evan, if it's just $25, reinforces the golden rule of wealth. Pay yourself first. These regular contributions compound over time, creating not just returns, but momentum. Even cutting one unnecessary expense a week adds up. It's not about sacrifice, it's about smart, conscious choices. The wealthy don't aim for perfection, they aim for alignment. I still remember when I first started tracking every dollar, reviewing my goals and trimming small expenses. I didn't feel rich then, but I felt empowered, and that made all the difference. Those quiet steps, done daily, eventually transformed my entire financial reality. So don't wait for big money to make big moves. Focus on what you can control, your habits. Turn them into rituals. Let them become the bricks that build your foundation. Because wealth is not an event, it's a process. A process shaped by what you do today and every day after. And here's one more truth the 3% understand. Deeply, relying on just one income stream is financial risk. If you depend on a single paycheck, you're standing on one leg in the middle of a storm. You're vulnerable. That's why they build financial houses with more than one pillar. Relying on a source of income is like walking a tightrope. With no safety net, you might feel fine while things are going smoothly, but the moment something shakes, you're at risk of losing it all. Putting all your eggs in one basket is risky. Why? Because baskets break? That's why the top 3% make it a priority to build. It's more than one leg under their financial table. And here's the good news. You don't need to have all 4 income legs perfectly set up today. You start small. Start right where you are. Maybe. That means launching a side hustle in your spare time or taking your first steps into investing. It's not about being perfect. It's about getting started. A side hustle is more than just extra cash. It's an education. It teaches entrepreneurship, resourcefulness, self-discipline, and creativity. It pushes you to learn how to create value on your own without waiting for a paycheck. And over time, even modest investments, if made consistently, begin to build new income streams. Streams that don't just add money to your bank account, but stability to your life. That's the beauty of having multiple income sources. They act like shock absorbers. If one leg of your table, say, your job suddenly weakens due to layoffs, illness, or economic shifts, the others help you stay upright. This is what financial resilience really means. It's not about hoping things go well. It's about preparing for when they don't. I remember when I first started exploring income outside of my main job, it wasn't glamorous. I was tired, confused, and honestly unsure of what I was doing. But I kept going. I learned, experimented, failed, and tried again. Eventually, those side efforts began to pay off. Suddenly, I had options. I had breathing room. I no longer felt trapped by a single paycheck. When one door closed, I already had others cracked open and ready. So if you're serious about building a better financial future, don't just dream of one big breakthrough. Build small, reliable streams one at a time. Watch them grow. It's not just about the money, it's about creating a stable, it's a durable foundation that can carry the life you want to live. Because wealth isn't just freedom, it's the power to choose. And that power comes from having multiple sources fueling your financial garden. Now here's where the next shift happens, and it's a big one. While formal education teaches you how to earn a living, self-education that teaches you how to build a fortune. This is one of the biggest. Mindset divides between the 97% who stay stuck and the 3% who rise. It's not only about what's in their wallets, but what they feed their minds every single day. Because wealth is not just a financial state, it's a mental one. Early in my journey, I had to face a hard truth. If I wanted to change my financial outcomes, I had to change my mental input. Most people fill their minds with entertainment, Netflix binges, endless scrolling, news overload. But the wealthy, they study, they observe, they read. They absorb the thinking of successful people. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant intentionally, weeds, distractions, fear, negative patterns take over. But if you consistently plant seeds of wisdom, financial principles, and long-term strategies, you'll harvest abundance. It's not about becoming a master overnight, it's about feeding your brain just a little every day. I started with just 10 minutes. 10 minutes a day reading a book about money or listening to someone smarter than me. At first it felt like nothing, but those 10-minute sessions added up. Over time, the ideas stuck. They changed how I thought, and then they changed how I acted. And that changed everything else. The secret isn't studying for hours, it's doing a little every day. Learn from those who've been where you want to go. Surround yourself digitally or in person with voices that elevate your thinking. Because when your mindset changes, your decisions follow. Wealth always starts in the mind long before it shows up in your account. So feed your mind principles, not distractions, and watch your financial world begin to transform. And now, let's take this energy and channel it into action. Because learning is only the beginning. In the next section, we'll dive into how to turn dreams into reality with goals, structure, and the daily execution that makes financial success not just possible, but inevitable. Ready? Let's go. Previously, we uncovered how feeding your mind daily with the right knowledge can reshape your entire financial destiny. Now let's connect that mindset to a powerful next step, one that separates dreamers from achievers. Setting clear, purpose-driven financial goals. I remember the exact moment I got serious about my future. I stopped asking vaguely for more money someday and started defining exactly what I wanted and when. That decision changed everything. Suddenly, every action I took had weight. Every small step moved me closer to a specific destination. The top 3% don't leave wealth to chance. They don't just hope things work out. They craft vivid, measurable goals that ignite something inside them. It's not wishful thinking. It's crystal clarity. Ask yourself, how much do you want saved by this time next year? What about in 5 years? What's the purpose behind those numbers? Is it freedom? Is it family? Is it legacy? When your goals are backed by a meaningful why, they become more than tasks. They become your compass. And here's something few understand. You don't scale a mountain in one giant leap. You ascend it one solid step at a time. Big goals are broken into monthly focuses, weekly milestones, and daily habits. Maybe today you read 5 pages of a financial book. Tomorrow, you skip that unnecessary expense. Next week, you increase your savings by just 1%. It's these consistent, bite-sized actions that create unstoppable momentum. Each morning, take a moment to revisit your vision. Visualize it, feel it. Let the excitement of your desired future spark your drive. It's a simple daily ritual acts. Like a steering wheel, it keeps your direction true, no matter how noisy the world gets. Because when your mind is given clarity, it naturally begins to organize your actions around it. Without clear goals and firm deadlines, your financial future becomes like a boat with no rudder drift. But once you give it purpose, things begin to shift. Intention becomes behavior, potential turns into progress, hope becomes real. Tangible wealth. But here's where things deepen even further. Real wealth isn't just what you accumulate. True wealth is what you share. You see, when you keep your financial progress to yourself, you limit its power. But when you open up and share what you've learned, whether with your family, your children, your friends, you multiply that power. The 3% know that wealth isn't just a personal victory, it's a legacy. I remember the first time I started talking honestly about money with my inner circle. Not only did it help them, it held me accountable. It made me reflect more, stay committed longer, and grow faster. Teaching what you learn, plant seeds that can grow for generations. That's how money becomes more than currency, becomes culture, becomes values passed down. And there's something else, the power of accountability. You share your goals with others. You create a system of support that keeps you focused. It's easy to slip when no one's watching. But when someone knows what you're aiming for and they believe in you, that changes the game. I've seen it over and over. The people who speak their goals aloud, who welcome honest feedback, aren't afraid to share both wins and mistakes. They move faster. They go farther. Because they're no longer walking alone. Wealth was never meant to be hoarded. It's a story to be told. It's a tool to build others up. The 97% often live quietly in scarcity, guarding what little they have. But the 3% share. They teach, they lift, and in doing so, they create a ripple effect of prosperity. So yes, build your wealth, but also build others. Share what you learn. Stay accountable to your vision. Surround yourself with those who keep you aligned. That's how your success becomes more than a moment, it becomes a movement that outlives you. And that leads us to one final truth. While the majority stay stuck chasing short-term pleasure, craving instant upgrades and weekend, is the 3% embrace something far more powerful. They understand that true wealth is not a sprint. It's a long, deliberate, purpose-driven game. Next, step fully into that mindset and packing what it really means to delay gratification. Think in decades and build a future that stands strong long after the trends fade. Ready to go deeper? Let's continue. We uncovered the transformative power of setting clear goals and building habits rooted in consistency and purpose. Now let's talk about a principle that might not feel glamorous, but it's what the 3% live by every single day: delayed gratification, you see. The wealthy have learned to master a simple truth: delay pleasure today so they can enjoy freedom tomorrow, multiplied. Remember when I was just starting out? The temptation to upgrade my lifestyle was buying the newest gadget. It's going out for expensive dinners, driving a car that screamed success. But deep down, I knew I had to choose. Was I going to impress people today or invest in my future? I chose the latter. And no, it wasn't flashy. Skipping that $300 night out didn't feel exciting in the moment, but I didn't let that money sit idle. I invested it in stocks, in skill-building courses, in my small business. With time, those small choices began to compound into something real, something powerful. Think of a farmer planting a seed. He doesn't walk outside the next day expecting fruit. He knows the soil needs time, he waters, he protects, he waits. And eventually the harvest is not just good, it's abundant. Wealth works the same way. When you delay that fleeting pleasure, shopping spree, the latest upgrade, the impulsive dinner out, you're not just saving money. You're planting seeds of time, opportunity, and freedom. True wealth builders don't waste time trying to keep up with others. They aren't watching what the neighbors are doing, they're watching their own future grow, every dollar not wasted is a soldier in your financial army, quietly working behind the scenes. So here's the question. What can you delay today so you can live freely tomorrow? That's the mindset that draws a line between the 97% who stay stuck and the 3% who break free. And if there's one truth I hope you carry with you, it's this. Wealth is not some secret exclusive reward hidden behind locked doors. It's the natural result of simple things done, consistently habits, discipline, focus, and a mindset that values the long term over the immediate. The majority of people aren't broke because they're not talented. They stay stuck because they misunderstand what wealth truly requires. They chase comfort. They avoid the slow game. They spend without purpose and wake up wondering why nothing changes. But the 3%, they think differently. They act deliberately. They pay themselves first, track where their money goes, invest in learning, and build systems that make progress automatic even when life gets hectic. And the truth is, you have that power too. You don't need a windfall. You don't need to wait for the right time. You just need to start right here, right now. Choose one small shift today. Track your spending. Set a financial goal with a real deadline. Automate a savings transfer. Read one page from a financial book. Share what you learn with someone else. Create a daily ritual that keeps you aligned. Because here's the reality. Wealth isn't a prize won in a lottery. It's a journey built by the patient, the disciplined, and the wise. So decide. Right now, are you going to stay where you are? Step into the mindset of the 3%. The future you dream of is already waiting. It's sitting quietly on the other side of the decisions you make today. And now that your mindset is built, your systems are forming, and your habits are taking root, it's time to take it one step further. Let's dive into how you scale your impact, serve more people, and multiply your income by solving real problems. So now, you've walked through the path that only 3% ever choose to take. A path not paved by luck or shortcuts, but by intention, by discipline, and by the quiet power of consistent action. You've learned the truth. Wealth isn't about chasing money. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts it. It's not about working harder, but working smarter. It's not about having more, but being more. You've seen how the smallest habits, when practiced faithfully, can build empires over time. How clarity beats confusion, how systems trump motivation, and how mindset, above all, shapes your reality. Because real wealthy is not an accident, it's a result. It's a byproduct of who you become when no one's watching. It's built in the decisions you make when temptation calls, when comfort whispers, and when discipline feels tough. So the question isn't, can you be wealthy? The question is, will you choose to become the person who deserves wealth? Because once you do, money won't be something you chase. It'll be something you attract. Opportunities will find you. People will trust you. And success, lasting, fulfilling success, will become not just possible, but inevitable now. Don't just close this video and go back to old habits. Take one thing, just one that resonated with you, and act on it today. Let it be the first brick in a foundation that changes everything. You don't need to transform your life overnight. You just need to take the next step today, because the journey has already begun in the future. It's waiting for you to rise and claim it. If this video shifted your mindset, even just a little, don't let that shift fade. Lock it in. Share it with someone you care about, because when we grow together, we rise faster. And if you're serious about building real wealth and creating a life on your terms, then make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you never miss a step on this journey. Drop a comment below. What's one habit you're going to start today? I read every single one, and I'd love to cheer you on. Remember, this isn't just another video. This is the first brick in your new foundation. Let's build something powerful together.